Hey guys, so we're here at Sherman Park. I'm here with my good friend, Pastor Tymme Reitz. And tell us a little bit about your Life 150 church, how it began, the background.
Yeah, we're about 8 years old. We started out as a urban outreach, and so we utilized a lot of different styles of worship and different expressions. We had rappers and singers and dancers. We continue with that legacy of pioneering that type of environment. And so even today we have dancers and dance floors around the worship areas. So it's a unique church, it's a unique place where I believe a community that feels they can really connect, that might not connect to some of the traditional things, which are wonderful, but this environment just is more inviting.
Do you have a supernatural experience in your life that really stands out to you?
I've had some angelic activities and, being able to see in the spirit, being able to see, there's certain times in my life where I was surrounded by darkness and was having just crazy, violent anxiety attacks. And at the same time, I was able to see some angelic hosts that would just come and rescue me and come and stand on my behalf and pull me out of those areas and those pits of my life and those seasons of my life. So
here's a question that everybody's going to ask. It's like, so what did they look like? Was it a glow? Was it a humanoid type, or was it one of the really supernatural with 6 wings and things of that nature? If you can just elaborate just a little bit.
The clearest picture, I've seen an angel stand over the side of my wife's bed.
Really?
And probably about 9 feet tall. Saw just a profile. There was the back of the angel, and saw like just really straight, streaky kind of hair, and the left hand went over my wife's body, and then the angel just kind of dispersed and left. So I think that was the one where I can really tune in. Everything else was kind of just movement taking place in the room, where I would just see angelic movement, but not a clear picture of a form besides that night.
So I understand you're an author as well. Recently had a book signing. So what's your latest book about?
I wrote a book called In the Waiting, and it just kind of walks people through transitions that take place in our life. Everyone has a season where they're waiting for breakthrough, they're waiting to see God move them into the next phase of their life. And a lot of people don't wait well. A lot of people,
Yeah, me too.
And I think instinctually we desire things to take place. We want to understand things. We want the knowledge of things, and these are great cravings that we should have as humans. But truth be known that there are times where things won't connect the way we'd like it, and things don't make sense, and the waiting seems longer than what we can handle. And so I wanted to give opportunities for people to be equipped and to have scriptural knowledge of the purpose behind patience, so they can begin to respect the process rather than regret the process.
Supernatural experiences, have you had any in your life that really sticks out to you that you'd like to share with us?
I've seen a couple of different things. Definitely, I think probably during worship is when I have the most visions. Sometimes I'll get images of people that I'm gonna meet. Sometimes I'll see angels flying around the worship area of our church.
Really?
Pouring out on us.
So you're talking about the winged angels, or because there's different descriptions of angels.
Yes.
Can you? Is there any description that you can kind of? Were they like shiny, or did they have wings, or anything like that?
Yeah, I've seen a couple with wings. I've seen a couple without. They're big. That's it.
How big is big?
I would say 9 feet.
9 feet. That's big.
That's bigger than regular size. Yeah, it's been incredible. I read a book called The Veil, and he gave me a couple of by Niels Blakely, and he gives you some exercises on tapping into the spirit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we're discussing today supernatural encounters, supernatural events. So is there anything in your life that's ever stood out, like from a supernatural event in your life, that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I do. I have one. I have many, but one that I remember very vividly is I was walking down the street with my mom, and there was a homeless guy that was there, and he was all beat up. And so we stopped to pray for him to see if he needed any help. But clear out the blue, this guy comes down the street, and he was like, "Hey, sister, let me pray with you." He prayed with us. We turned around and he was gone.
Wow.
He was
Like an
gone.
angel.
He was like an angel. And the guy on the street, he was like, all of a sudden he was telling us that he was actually a Satanist. But he was like, you know, there's just something about you. So yeah, just let you pray for me. And we were like, okay.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're here with our good friend Laura today. And Laura, a little bit about yourself, like your history, where you're from.
Well, I'm here from California, Los Angeles, California. Predominantly grew up raised Buddhist, more culturally, a little bit of the religion part, and came to Christ in 2010.
Cool. So supernatural events or things that have happened in your life of a supernatural nature that really stick out?
Well, one memory I have that I hold pretty close to my heart is when my grandma was on her deathbed. At the time, she couldn't really speak anymore. She couldn't really see very well anymore. And so I was just there praying and just praying that she would be comforted. And there was this exact point that I remember very clearly when I just was praying that she would catch a glimpse of heaven, that she would know that she was loved. And because that was something that I felt like growing up in Vietnam, she really didn't have that. And even throughout her life, just as a wife and a mother and a grandmother, just kind of felt like she wasn't fully appreciated. So right at that moment, her eyes opened really big because they were closed before. And she was just staring up above me at the ceiling just in wonder. And it was amazing. So I felt like God had heard my prayer and he was answering it. And he was showing himself to her at that time. So that brought me a lot of comfort, just to have that closure with my grandma right before she passed.
Well, that's powerful. So she was in her bed. She was in the hospital for like 2 years, and she hadn't been opening her eyes, and she couldn't speak.
Right. She couldn't. Yeah. She couldn't really speak anymore. She couldn't see anymore.
And so at that exact moment when you were praying for her to see heaven, a supernatural event, right? She opens her eyes after 2 years.
Yes.
And so that was something you felt in your spirit too, right? So that's really a supernatural event for both your relative and yourself.
Right. Yeah.
It's very powerful.